Hello, welcome everybody. My name is April Hutchinson. I work at TTG, and it's lovely well, not see you all, but to be here and to be with Claire Moore from Peaks Travel Elite in Shrewsbury, who is the UK and Ireland's #1 travel agency 2019 in our TTG Top 50. And this is 1 week at a time, which is part of TTG's ongoing programme of virtual events, where we're looking at all sorts of all sorts of topics that affect the industry and agents and their day-to-day lives, and especially what's happening with those agents such as Claire, who've obviously shut up the shop and gone to work from home. And just want to check in with you firstly, Claire, and see how you are getting on with the whole work-life balance situation. And obviously kids have gone back to virtual school today, so how's that been for you?
Well, work-life balance is something that I've been working on before this, and I'm sure I'll be working on it. I'm not great at it, if I'm honest. Today the children went to school, which means that they have more things to occupy them. But also, of course, they need a little bit of input. After this, I'm doing a bit of a Macbeth project, and then I'll come back and deal with some more cancellations and rebooks. So juggle, I think, is the word.
Juggling, yes, absolutely. That's definitely what everyone is trying to get to grips with. It's actually, it's nearly or just over 30 days since lockdown officially commenced in the UK, and we heard there's more to come last week, obviously, with the extension to the advice to stay at home. Did you feel that there was an influx of customer reaction to that, of people panicking a little bit more because it was just that feeling of being stuck at home for longer over the weekend?
Well, I don't know if it was that on its own, or maybe what people perceived as the end of the school Easter holidays, but yeah, absolutely, the emergency phone rang more this weekend than it has, or than I would like it to. And I just think we're always trying to move ahead, and of course, we're into May, June, July departures, and of course there are more people that are due to travel, so it is naturally busier.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And crucially as well, the government's furlough payment website went live today.
Yep.
Do you have someone takes care of that? Have you had any feedback on whether they've been successful, or what the general feeling about how it's going to work?
Yeah, well, I'm quite lucky in that our accountant take care of all the payroll, because we're quite a large team, so that's great from my perspective. But I have seen some really positive things on various forums today for people within travel that have done it themselves, and actually I think somebody said they might have done it in 15 minutes.
Wow.
So quite a lot of research before, but great to see that it's happening.
Yeah, that the system does seem to be working. That's great.
Yeah.
Because the only other worry is the government is saying between 5 and 6 working days. Now, if you do get in the system very quickly, then the money could be in your bank account to pay staff by over the next pay run. I assume that some people will struggle with that if the money's not there, but you feel you're confident you've got enough to cover that anyway before the furlough comes in.
Yeah, definitely. I've worked really hard on some cash flow forecasts. There's a program called Fluidly that people might like to have a look at.
Yeah.
Our accountant's working through that with us, but they are so loads of support from our accountant. But we were in a really lucky position coming off such a successful year last year and retained profit within the business. So it's that's keeping us going.
Yeah. Do you feel it might be an issue for some small agencies who perhaps weren't ready for the cash flow interruption? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think in a different year it would be an issue for us.
Yeah. But you've just got that money in the bank, which is going to really tide you over.
Expenses and somebody that's trying to actively promote their business. They've committed to, I don't know, various bits of advertising, various expansion plans. It's a real challenge, I think. If you've overcommitted, it's trouble.
Yeah, sure. Now, you mentioned you're obviously, you've got cash flow projections, all that kind of thing. And I think this week for you is going to use, you mentioned when we spoke last time that you were going to be really knuckling down into how else can you save some money and really keep a very tight eye on the purse strings for the business.
Yeah.
And everybody's obviously had the government things like business rates, goodbye to those, cancel VAT, things like that. Mm-hmm. What else are you going to be looking into this week, or what else do you think people can be saving money on?
One of the things I will be looking at tomorrow is to get in touch with our telephone provider. Because of course the package we do is based on X amount of users, X amount of
in an empty shop
minutes. Yeah, absolutely. So I shall be in touch with those. I was in touch with our insurance company actually last week, because our employment, our employees' liability insurance and all of that kind of stuff is actually all tied up. And what that links to really closely is your turnover and the amount that you insure for business interruption.
Yes.
So for us, our policy actually runs May to May, so it doesn't really make any odds. Let's hope I haven't dropped our turnover projection, because I hope that however slow it is, we'll come back to a really strong Q1 for next year, which of course will be scooped up in that May. But depending on when your renewals are due, I think it's definitely worth having a look at.
Worth looking at that, yeah, okay. And energy bills as well, obviously all those things. It's tricky, isn't it? Because you're probably still going to get the same for a shop that's now not using any power at all.
Yeah, but things like standing charges potentially on electricity. The bid sent me through a really useful, this is called a business lockdown checklist.
Yeah.
And it's all sorts of things on there, and I think I've probably done 2/3 of it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but if there's more room, pennies are kind of where we're at really. So that's got all sorts of things like insurance company, your card payment provider, if you're taking less payments potentially, or maybe you rent a particular amount of units. And then everything from gas, water, electric. I'm sure that people will have already spoken to their landlord and hopefully negotiated a break.
Yeah, is that what you managed to do?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, we're in a really lucky position that Frances, my business partner, and her husband, they own the premises.
Oh, just ask Frances and then it was okay.
I had to flush my eyelids and so that kind of work.
Yeah, but it is definitely something people should be looking into to see if they can get that break, because obviously no one's going to be evicted from anywhere. There could be no evictions at the moment. Now you mentioned that BID had sent you a lockdown checklist. I'll just go back to that, because that is called the British Improvement Districts, isn't it? Which is a scheme that Shrewsbury runs that you're involved in. And sounds like a very useful thing. I mean, I'm not sure if people could historically now try and get involved in something like that, but what else have you found that they've been able to help you with in terms of, what's happening in the local area?
Well, they're giving us some of this stuff I already have access to. So we already have somebody who looks after our accounts brilliantly. I outsource HR as well. So some of what they're able to offer isn't applicable to us particularly, but I'm sure, really well received. There's free legal advice. They're even doing, to help with our the premises insurance, they're doing a free security patrol, just checking on our premises for us. I'm going in actually once a week just to make sure that post is taken care of, and that's the thing, isn't it? Stepping out into that world.
You don't want things...
not stepping out, getting in the car. I'm driving once a week.
Which must be a change from a few months ago, a few weeks, when you were all flooded in Shrewsbury and couldn't even get in a car and go anywhere anyway. So from a historic local crisis to this one, haven't you? So it's been a really tough couple of months. I also noticed that they are doing something called Support Shrewsbury. Now, I've heard a few local programs, should we say, where people are being encouraged to buy a voucher for something that they're going to purchase later on. So suppose I buy a voucher for my hairdresser, I'll use it later on. It keeps some money going and flowing in the economy. And they're doing one for Shrewsbury. I think it's not launched yet, but do you think that's something that you would get involved in? Say if people would perhaps buy a voucher towards a Peaks Travel Elite down the line, or is that not really?
Well, I don't know quite how that works for us. I think it's a great idea. They do all sorts of things like shopping the loop, which is the loop of the River Severn, the river that we sit within, hence us being flooded. and they do some really great initiatives that we always do become involved within. But of course, although we're retail, we're not selling a tangible product.
Yeah,
exactly. So it is a little bit different, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be in touch with them to see if there's any way that we make it relevant for us, because I think we need to be relevant for our local community of travellers, but also relevant within our local business community. It's usually quite a tight-knit community.
Absolutely. Those kind of relationships are going to be really important when you start to come out, aren't they, of how can we get everybody back on the high street, obviously within whatever measures that might be, but just working with local partners to do that together.
And now you also, there's better times to come, don't we?
Yes, they will come, as we keep saying. And now you also had some good news, I think, where you've had your small business grant come through. So was that what sort of process was that like? How's that money going to help?
Well, it certainly goes into the pot to help with ultimately no income, really. Right now. So the process was really easy for me. Just needed to get our rates bill. Fine. And all the information I needed was on there. And I think it will depend on your local authority about how they do it. For me, it was almost like an online application. And they processed it within 5 working days, which is pretty good. Maybe a couple of tour operators could learn from that. And travel agents alike, I'm sure.
Don't ask, don't get, right? If you really try, and if the system is working, then the people who need and deserve the money should be getting through to them, which is good. And obviously the ongoing question is there any other cash flow coming in? Are there any bookings, any queries, things like that, and how you're trying to, I know you're very sensitive to not wanting to put sales messages out there, but are you putting any messages out there about future bookings, and are you seeing any future bookings or queries coming in?
I don't think we're necessarily seeing any really serious future business. Some tentative stuff, but nothing really serious. We're really focusing on saving what we've got, rather than having to redo that again. And three totally different camps as far as me calling ahead to tell people, your balance is coming up. What are we going to put in place for you? Some people can't even consider traveling. Some people are the opposite to that, and they're get me on holidays.
When can I go?
Literally. And then there's another kind of right in the middle of that, guys that really do want to travel and they want to support us, which is great. And we're looking at rebooking for those.
Okay. And you're still finding some tricky conversations out there in terms of people who are perhaps very loyal regular customers, but you're now having those difficult conversations with them still?
I think our audience, our customers, they are particularly well educated. They have money. They aren't used to somebody not telling them the news that they want to hear. So sometimes it's not that I'm not giving them the news that they want. I'm not able to give them a clear picture, which is almost worse for those people. Because what is it, Claire? Is it this or is it this? And really, well, I can tell you 50% of the question, but I can't fully answer it. And I can only give the information that we do know. The rest is just speculation. So once there's more clarity about and around, each tour operator, this is their policy, and now they won't need to hopefully to change it again. We've had some issues this week where we've had tour operator has said yes, we will be refunding, and now they've come back and said no, we'll not be refunding in conjunction with out to advice. So I think we all maybe read into
what we want to get from something.
Absolutely. And then it makes it a really difficult conversation to say, apologies, Mr. Smith, actually this isn't,
things have changed.
Things have changed now. So it does make it difficult. There are some operators who we're working with really well, and can't praise them highly enough for that, because it's a teamwork, isn't it? We're all in it together.
Yeah, it is. And we are seeing that, aren't we, that people are, I mean, I wouldn't ask you to name who's on your blacklist, but perhaps we could name who's on your hero list. But it's those people that you're going to work closer with when you come out, because you must deal with a ton of different operators, you know, given the type of, you know, the variety of holiday you create for people. So any heroes you want to give a shout out that you've worked really well with?
I think, well, as answer to a bigger question, really, we work with lots of ATO operators. So our customers have huge expectations of us, and we honestly have huge expectation retrospectively from our tour operator partners. And I think that's fair, because that's why we are part of ATO, and hopefully why they are as well. So some of those guys have done better than others. Friday's hero was Africa and Beyond, who helped me save a lovely booking. So
well done them.
So yeah, thank you guys, really appreciate that.
Yeah, and it, as you say, it's cooperation, isn't it, and just working for the common good, because we all know that those companies that provide a great service are the ones that people are going to come back to when we come out of this. Remember that, aren't they? Yeah. And obviously an ongoing conversation that a lot of people have, and we mentioned it last time we spoke, is about mental and emotional well-being. And how, if you have had those difficult conversations with people, you mustn't let it in. You mustn't sort of keep hold of it. Are you managing to do that, to just say, well, that was Mr. Smith, now I need to move on, or not?
I don't think I can let it go as quickly as that, and I really wish I could, but we're human, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I think just the other day I had to go into the garden after one of those, threw the ball for the dog a couple of times and then come back. I think to actually think, right, get on to the next call, I don't think personally.
You need to process it, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, you know, go and walk around the block, go and stand in the garden, make a cup of tea, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Then have a deep breath and move on, because otherwise I think you take that negativity with you.
Yeah.
It makes definitely 2 tricky phone calls when really maybe you could have had a better resolution on the second call.
Yeah, if you were in that sort of more positive state of mind when you went into it. Yeah. Also have to give you a belated happy birthday, because I know you've had an isolation birthday. And how was that for you?
Well, very quiet.
Yeah.
My life isn't a quiet life. We've got lots of lovely friends and family.
Yeah.
And both myself and my husband work really hard as well. So it was definitely different. Just a day at home. My loved ones came to the bottom of the drive and dropped off little presents and cards, which was brilliant. A bit emotional, actually. At that point.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it was really lovely. Do you know what? Keeping us four to ourselves as well was almost a bit of a blessing in some respects.
Yeah, I'm sure. Back to the sort of work talk. Now, credit cards are potentially a big issue for a lot of people, in the sense of chargebacks suddenly appearing, large fees that you can't perhaps recover, even if it has been refunded, etc. Are you finding you're getting lots of chargeback emails, or you're fearing those, clients claiming back?
Well, definitely fearing them. Not received anything yet.
Okay.
So, fingers crossed and all. I think that MasterCard and Visa are currently saying that they're not going to be processing those. But I think that everything has a timeline, doesn't it? There'll become a point where, those customers will shout loudly enough for it to happen. Yeah, I genuinely think so. And that's a real worry for me. We're in a very fortunate position to be strong, profitable, but nobody's invincible, are they?
Yeah. And do you accept large bookings on credit card, or does it have to be back transfer?
No, well, we don't want to. We prefer to not. But
you have done in the past, yeah.
Yeah, our ethos is really all about what the customer wants.
Yeah.
We can steer and we can cajole, but
if they say, "Here's my credit card, just take it now," then you just,
I know. And as much as we want to steer our customers, ultimately it's their choice, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And now there was also some new APTA guidance on the refund credit notes in terms of them being protected. Do you think that's a helpful piece of information for you to have now?
I think it helps. It helps to reassure customers that consumer protection is available and it's being used. it's just the lack of clarity in how one operator will interpret it one way, another will interpret another altogether. And then we've got helpful things like which going on, and I saw response to the article in the Telegraph yesterday about
bailout.
Not bailout rather than buyout, isn't it? And I just think it was the comments at the bottom actually.
I read those. I was saying earlier on to a colleague, the public really isn't happy about it, is it?
No.
So, well, let's see what happens on that one as well. Now, bless them, our MPs are getting back to official work tomorrow with the opening of Parliament, albeit some virtual, some in person, I understand. So if you were there, or if you had your MP ask one question, what would it be?
I think my question to an MP was really, how important is the travel industry? Because that was the big thread within those comments within the Telegraph, which was, well, gosh, well, why do we need to bail out the travel industry? Somebody said we actually caused it by encouraging people to travel. So I just think, the travel industry worldwide is such a huge employer. That gets forgotten, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely. So realistically, how can our government support us properly? Okay, good. Well, hopefully it will be on the agenda now they're all back. But that's actually it from us for today's 1 week at a time. So thank you so much, Claire, for giving up your time to come and chat with us. I hope a lot of agents can relate to some of those different things that you're going through, or some of the to-do tasks that you have this week. And to everybody else, we have plenty of other events coming up this week on our virtual events calendar with TTG. So just to remind you, tomorrow 11 o'clock is Agent Matters, where news editor Jennifer Morris will be talking to Joanne Dewey from Love to Travel, Simon Morgan from Tailor Made Travel, Tina Nassam from Carrick Travel. On Wednesday, on a destination side, we've got 2 sessions with Maddie, who will be covering how to sell Queensland and Western Australia. And then in the afternoon, one with Lata, looking at the wonderful world of Latin America. So trying to get some ideas for looking ahead to happier times and when people get travelling again. Thursday, the brilliant second instalment of our online conference, Keep Your Business Alive, will be hosted by Sophie Griffith. And also on Friday, more from our Business Support Live. So we'll be covering some very hot topics in that Friday session, depending on what happens this week and what the things are that the travel industry needs to keep talking about. And do post any questions online into our business support forum for anything to do with any issues you're going through. And check out the website where you can see all the details of all our events coming up. So have a great week, everybody. Claire, thank you again, and I'll see you next time. All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.